And it was a year where there were a lot of storms and stuff, and he was talking about the difference between buffalo and cows. He said when cows, many of them get killed by summer storms that come in, and said what happens to the cows is the storm, they see it coming across the prairie, and they turn and they try to run away from the storm, but the storm catches them, and they run in the storm for a long period of time and get killed. The buffalo sees the storm and runs toward it, which means they get through it quicker than if they run away from it. In life, you got to run towards the storms. You've got to go towards the things that you fear, because you're always going to find a reason to quit. You're going to always find a reason to doubt. I'll give you a quick personal story. I went off to college in 1970, graduated from high school in 1975. No, I don't look that old, but yes, I did. Party down, ain't no jive with the class of 75. And I went off to college at the University of Georgia in the fall of 1975. And the first class I had was Political Science 101. Now, I grew up in the country. I grew up in at that time, it's now kind of gotten gobbled up by Atlanta, but in Covington, Georgia, which is, so Newton County High School, class of 75. And so I grew up in Covington, Georgia. I didn't want to go to college. I had a really good job at a factory there in Covington, had a girlfriend. I wanted to buy, what I wanted in life was a 1975 Cutlass Supreme T-top, okay? I did not want to go off to college. But with my mom, it was not a question of whether I was going off to college. None of my buddies went off to college, all of a sudden. I went off to the University of Georgia. I'm there, and there's all these kids that are from all the rich neighborhoods of Atlanta and Buckhead, and they got on their little preppy clothes and all their expensive crap, and I've got like these torn blue jeans and t-shirts and stuff. And so I go to my first class, and I don't want to be there. And so when you don't want to be somewhere, where do you sit? The back of the back of the back of the back row. That's where I was. Professor was a gentleman named Dr. Bill. And at the end of the first class, he, says, any questions? Now, this little smart-tailed girl sitting about 4 rows in front of me, who had the big poofy hair back then with the ribbon in it and the Madras shirt and all the crap people had on from Buckhead then, raises her hand and says, Dr. Miller, will we receive a syllabus today? Now, how many of you have ever been in a thing where everybody's supposed to be a beginner, but it seems like they had a class in being a beginner? Okay, they already know more than me, and they're all supposed to be. And so I'm sitting there, I have no clue on earth what the word syllabus means. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, they're asking for about a syllabus. I don't even know what the word is. So I go back. Now, if she'd have said, when could I get a schedule of the tests? I'd go, yeah, I need one of those too. Okay, but so I go back to my dorm. This is before you had cell phone. This is, payphone at the end of the hall. I go down and I call my dad, and I go, Dad, I hate this. I can't stand it. I want out of here. I want to come home now. And Dad, being my dad, said, son, do me a favor. We've already paid tuition. Make it through Christmas, and we'll talk about it. And that sounded like a fair plan to me. So 2 weeks later, we have our first exam in the class. Now, I always did well in school. Don't let the accent fool you. I always did pretty good in school. And I could, and I had a good memory, and if I read something, I can remember it, blah, blah. First test, we get it back. I made a 98. And I looked 4 rows in front of me, because it was on one of those big platform, kind of seating things, and I see that little smart butt girl made 46. Now, I don't know what she's doing today, but I bet you she's not CEO of something. Okay, now, she almost made me quit. What would my life have been like? In all honesty, truly, I think about it quite often. This isn't like some made-up story, it's a true story. What would my life have been like if my dad said, "Son, get your butt home. I am sick of hearing your whiny crap. You can still get your job back at Mobile Chemical Company making styrofoam plates." Okay? What would my life have been like if I'd have done that? Life moves on small decisions. And many times those decisions are driven by your fears, are driven by what you have a fear of, what keeps you awake at night. And you will never conquer them. People say, conquer your fears. Bull crap. They're going to be there at 3 o'clock in the morning when you wake up. You've got to learn to attack your fears and do what you fear most and go toward it and fight it. Do you win? Second key is, I read years ago in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. Who controls the keys to your brain? Who controls what you think about? Who controls what happens? They're not just random things happening. You are becoming your current most dominant thought. Whatever your current most dominant thought is, that's what you're becoming. So you let television control it, 24-hour negative news, what's going across the bottom, what's going down the sides, what the person's saying, it's all negative. It's all negative input. The brain is not like a computer. You know, computer, they say garbage in, garbage out. With the brain, it's garbage in, garbage stays. You've got to control who has control of your brain. And if you got to, I'm going to tell you, there's two important powers. The power of association, who you associate with. But what people don't talk about a lot of times is the power of disassociation. If you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. You've got to pick who you're going to. Many of us have friends and acquaintances that if you ever see them and say the words, "How are you doing today?" you wish you could stuff the words back in your mouth. Because they're going to share with you how they feel. If positive people shared their feelings like negative people do, what an amazing, amazing world we have. You've got to control who you let have the keys to your brain. You've got to control who you give the steering wheel of your thoughts to. And you've got to control what goes on between your ears every day. And one of my things I say a lot is don't take advice from anyone more screwed up than you are. Okay? But it is amazing. It is amazing how many people do that. You know, a few years ago, I was on my way to a vacation, and I pretty much, you know, I'm a wide open kind of guy. I am totally wide open. I live on Delta Airlines, which, by the way, stands for Don't Expect Luggage to Arrive. And, I mean, I'm a 3 million miler. I go. I live on the road, and I'm attention deficit disordered as they come. Addison starts with ADD, okay? And I am a wide open, wired kind of guy. And so I do whatever I do either to extreme. So when I'm working, I am the workingest human being that's ever been. And when I go on vacation, I am the vacatingest person that's ever been. Okay? And so I was going from a big Primerica meeting, and I was meeting my wife. I was flying in from somewhere. I was meeting her at Miami Airport, and we were heading to a gorgeous place in the Caribbean for several days. And so I had shifted out of work mode with the help of a few cocktails on the way to Miami Airport, into like Jimmy Buffett party only kind of mode. And so I'm having to go because I was going international, and I had to go through security again at the Miami Airport. Now, I've got on my Primerica golf shirt as I'm doing it, and so I'm heading through. Now, I'm the world's guy. I can get through security. Never wear lace-up shoes, only wear loafers. If you travel, blah, blah, blah. I'm the world's best. I mean, I'm talking like, boom, I'm through, okay? I know the drill, okay? And so I'm in the line to go through, and I'm getting there, and there's the guy that stands at the front of the line, right as you're getting ready, that his job is to make sure your smelly shoes are on the belt, okay? So what a great job to have, smelly shoe belt guy, okay? And this guy's standing there, and he sees my shirt, and he goes, Primerica, you know that Primerica thing. And I go, yeah, I'm the Primerica thing. And, because I'm not trying to recruit him, get his name and number, whatever. I am going on vacation. I went to a few meetings. I looked at doing that thing. And I'm like, okay, great, man. That's good. But, I figured out pretty quick, that if you don't get one of them things early, you don't make no money. It's only the people that get in early that make any money. So, I didn't do it. He said, so are you doing okay with it? Yeah, I'm doing okay with it, whatever and stuff. But then I'm through security, and I'm gone, and I'm on the plane to the Caribbean. But then I got tickled thinking, that is exactly the guy that kills recruits. Okay, because, he sits there, it's like you'll recruit somebody and get them excited, then they'll go home and their dumb brother-in-law, Claude, will go, I looked at one of them things one time, you can't make no money. How much money did you give them? Okay, and now, this is your moron, broke brother-in-law, Claude, okay, that you wouldn't listen to on anything, has never done anything, but all of a sudden people go, he may be right. So my thought was, this is the exact idiot that kills you people. Never take advice from anyone more broke and screwed up than you are. Be careful. I think it's my third point. I kind of ramble, whatever. So, third point. Focus on your strengths in life. We are all born with different strengths. There are things that you are born that you're naturally good at. I'm speaking next week to the Corps cadets at Texas A&M University, and talking to them about their future and all that. So I'm speaking to them, and one of the things I tell young people all the time, I did the commencement for the Terry College of Business at the University of Georgia last year, and one of the things I always tell them is find what you're good at without trying, and then try. See, too many people spend all their time working on their weaknesses. All they focus on is their weakness. The best you'll ever be at a weakness is mediocre. Someone is naturally good at what your weaknesses are. And the best you'll ever be at that is mediocre. Now that doesn't mean don't try to get better and stuff. Look, I am totally disorganized. I am the world's, when I was in school as a child, everybody had the little desk with the stuff. There were always the people in all their papers and everything was so neat and stacked in there. And mine looked like a whirlwind here. Paper falling out of it every way and all that kind of stuff. I'm not organized. I write crap on pieces of paper. My wife goes, is this important? Some note you wrote to yourself or whatever? That's how I'm wired. So I try to have people around me in my life that supplement my weaknesses, and then you need to focus on what your strengths are. You got to find yourself. You need to listen to all these people you're going to hear from at this event and not try to be them, but to try to learn from them. You've got to be the best you can be. There's only one you. In the entire history of humanity, all the hunks of flesh that have ever been born before or will ever be born after, there is one you. There is only one you. And you've got to find a way to make you be the best you can be, not a cheap imitation of someone else. Focus on your strengths. Learn, be honest with yourself, because a lot of people act like their weaknesses are their strengths. Okay, because people don't like to be honest with themselves. People don't like to really understand what they're good at and not good at. But work every day to be the best you can be. You need to be a person of integrity. A person of integrity. Look, I'm sure there are a lot of people in Primerica. I'm sure if you poll them, there'd be people that don't like me. Okay, I would imagine. I think by and far, I'm a pretty likable guy. Okay, and one of the things I try to do is to always be a person of integrity. Tell people like it is. Be yourself. Be honest. Take a stand. We were trying to get the company free in the middle of a financial crisis. There were a lot of shortcuts I could have taken that wouldn't have been good for our people, wouldn't have been good for our business. Might have made me a lot of money, but it wouldn't have been the right thing. One of the things I try to do whenever I'm faced with a tough decision is to say, what are my motives? Not ask my wife what, but I'm talking about in the quiet, dark of your study or wherever you go at 3 o'clock in the morning when you wake up and can't sleep. To be honest with yourself about what your motives are. Somebody sent me years ago, this is something I've had for 30 years. Somebody wrote a piece called 9 of the World's Most Successful Men. And it was about the Depression, the Great Depression. Okay, this was done way before we had the Great Recession. But it was how success and money don't equal really being a successful person. And it was talking about how in 1923, there was a meeting at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. Attending this meeting were 9 of the world's most influential businessmen. Those present were, number 1, the president of the largest independent steel company in America. Number 2, the president of the largest utility company in America. Number 3, the president of the largest gas company in America. 4, the greatest wheat speculator in the world. 5, the president of the New York Stock Exchange. A member of the president's cabinet. A person known as the greatest bear on Wall Street. The head of the world's greatest monopoly. And the president of the Bank of International Payments. Most important men in the world in a meeting in a gorgeous resort to talk about the future of finance in America. 25 years later, in 1948, where were they? The president of the largest steel company, Charles Schwab, died bankrupt and lived on borrowed monies for 5 years before his death. The president of the largest utility company, Samuel Insull, died a fugitive from justice and penniless in a foreign land. The president of the largest gas company, Howard Hobson, is now insane and in an asylum. The greatest wheat speculator, Arthur Cutten, died abroad insolvent. The president of the New York Stock Exchange, Richard Whitney, was recently released from prison in Sing Sing. A member of the president's cabinet, Albert Fall, was pardoned from prison so he could die alone at home. The greatest bear on Wall Street, Jesse Livermore, died of suicide. The head of the world's greatest monopoly, Ivan Kruger, died of suicide. The president of the Bank of International Payments, Leon Fraser, died of suicide. All these men learned the art of making money, but none learned how to live. When the Depression hit, they couldn't take it. They either did illegal things to get where they were, or when they lost their money, their life was over. Learn to be a person of integrity. That shines when maybe things aren't going good in your life. Business is not just this. I mean, you're never as good as you think you are when things are going great. But the good news is you're not as bad as you think you are when things ain't going great. In life, you got to learn to have a personal integrity to you so that you feel good about you. And so that other people see that in you. I don't care how talented you are, if you're a bad person, ultimately people will smell you out. They will figure you out if your motives aren't good. Success is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Life is long. Fifth point, you got to work your tail off. Nothing in life comes easy. I say all the time, if it sounds easy, it's sleazy. It is not easy to succeed. The difference between try and triumph is the oomph. Okay, in life, you gotta go for it. You gotta put it on the line. You gotta work your tail off. You gotta go make it happen. People tell me all the time, particularly when you got a company 37 years old, people have been around a long time, a lot of people, John, oh man, I'm just burned out. Hell, to be burned out, it means at some point in your life you were on fire. Okay? I mean, the number of people that say they're burned out, that they never did anything, never sold out, never went for it. In life, if you want something different than what other people get, you got to pay a price. You got to say every day, I will do today what others don't. So I'll have tomorrow what others won't. You got to pay a price if you want to win. Final point. You got to have fun. This is not a dress rehearsal. Wow. Time flies. 56 years old now. I don't feel 56.
You don't look it.
I feel, I still think I'm a 20-some-year-old kid until I try to do the crap I did when I was a 20-some-year-old kid. I'm kind of from, the Toby Keith song, I'm as good once as I ever was. That's pretty much me in life, okay? But I still feel like a kid. I get up every day excited. I like to have fun. I avoid negative. I'm attracted to positive. I like to have a good time. And so one of the things I tell people all the time, particularly young people when I talk to college groups or whatever, is I'm going to give you success training right now. Okay? Biggest success training you could ever have. Smile. Just smile. I am blown away. I live in an airport. You watch the businessmen with their roller bags. It looks like the Bataan Death March. People frowning, faces long up. The number of people that come up to me on just a normal day and go, wow, you look, something great must have happened in your life. You look so, I got up this morning, my feet hit the floor, I actually stood up, body parts functioned okay. Every day on the right side of the grass is a good day. And so the people you attract just by being happy. A lot of people go through life like when the kids get grown, I'll be happy. When I pay off this debt, I'll be happy. When this happens, you know, when my husband gets out of the house, I'll be happy. When whatever it is, people live in the land of if-when. When this happens, then I'll be happy. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the truth. You ain't ever going to be happy. I've been blessed. I've been in the middle of a great company, and then doing what I've done on Wall Street to try to get the company out. I know a lot of really rich, miserable people. I know a lot of really wealthy, unhappy. Money makes good people better and bad people worse. Okay, that's the truth. A good person who gets money can do more good. A bad person just gets more dangerous. That in life, if you're waiting for the success to make you happy, you'll never be happy. You need to get happy now. You need to have a happiness that comes from within you, not from your circumstances. I was telling the people backstage, heck, I actually remember, right after our kids were born, all that stuff, I was making a little bit of money, not much at all, living in a little small house in Snellville, Georgia, getting Christmas at Big Lots where they sell all the crap they can't sell at Walmart, okay? So, I remember that video, and that was the happiest times of my life. As I look back at this, my kids were little, they were great, all that stuff. There are many days I would trade all the crap and money and all that bull. There are days I'd trade all that just to be with my 5 and 3-year-old one more time. Okay, if you're waiting for the money to make you happy, you ain't going to be happy. You got to learn to get happy now. And you got to become the kind of person people want to be around. You got to be a leader. You got to be a leader. See, let me tell you what. Unfortunately, there's two types of leaders, okay? And one of them really isn't a leader. They've just got a position of quote-unquote leadership. There's lighthouses and there's weather vanes. Weather vanes turn with the breeze. Whatever way it puffs, they turn that direction. A leader's got to be a lighthouse. When I look back at when I look at my career and go, when was I at my best? Inevitably, it's in the bad times, not the good times. It's when I stood strong, when others crumbled. Winston Churchill, one of the great leaders, probably the greatest leader in the survey done at the end of the 20th century, it was he and Martin Luther King Jr. that were picked as the most admired men of the 20th century. And Winston Churchill, when he was an old man, he lived to be over 90, was asked if he could live 1 year again, when would it be? He said, without hesitation, 1940. 1940 was in the Blitz, when the Germans were bombing London every night. America wasn't in the war yet. The only thing standing between the Nazification of Europe and freedom was England, one island. And he was the bulldog voice and the strength of that island. The most trying year of his life is when he said he would like to live it again. A leader has to stand strong. A leader's got to be consistent. If you're in leadership over people, they can't have to decide what mood you're in that day by what they're going to tell you. You've got to be somebody that even when you feel like crap, you don't let them know you feel like crap. Even when you're negative, you don't spread that and share that with your team. Even when you've had a bad day, you don't share that with your people. You've got to choose that you're going to be a leader, that you're going to stand out, and you're going to be strong. That's what people rally to. The greatest scarce resource in our country today is leadership. It's not oil, it's not gas, it's not electricity, it's not any of that, it's leadership. And what you've got to do if you want to build your business and you want to fulfill your dreams is be a leader. It's been great to talk to you today, and Mark is such a really good guy. The first thing, I'm one of these people, I like people. I like to be around people I like. And I don't like to be around people I don't like. So if you ever see me, you come toward me and you see me turn and go the other direction, okay. But now I like to be around people that I like, people that have integrity. And Mark is just a great person, and like I said, my friend Stuart is probably one of my best friends on earth, and I appreciate the opportunity that they gave me to come share with you, because how great you're doing and how great your business is doing. But just one final thought. You're not here to be a cheerleader, okay? You're not here to be a cheerleader. In your business, which I tell people at Primerica all the time, we attract a lot of joiners. Okay, people join. Okay, I'm in. Oh, watch my smoke, count on me. Oh boy, watch what I do. And then you can't find their butt with a flashlight, 2 days later. Okay, I refer to it, there's a lot of people you come across at what I call humming gators. Alligator mouth, hummingbird butt. Okay? They can talk loud, but not do much. And, you're not here to be a spectator or a cheerleader. You're here to win. You're here to do something great in life. Life's short. You don't get a do-over. You're not going to get a mulligan at the end. So many people live their life as if everybody else is mortal, but then one thing we have in common, and I realize this is a younger crowd than what I have a lot of times in Primerica and stuff as I look out there, but the one thing I can promise you is in 100 years, unless somebody invents some crap that, whatever, maybe they will, I don't know. But chances are, being in the insurance business, 100 years from now, there's 100% mortality in this room. Cemeteries of the world are full of irreplaceable people. I've been to Ben Franklin's grave. I've been to Winston Churchill's grave. I've traveled and I've seen a lot, and the cemeteries of the world are full of irreplaceable people. Time moves. The question is, will you?